All right, so now we have something to actually sink our teeth into, and that's the Money in the Bank ladder match for the title shot for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins versus RVD versus Jack Swagger versus Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston versus Dean Ambrose, not versus Bad News Barrett because he was taken out of the match, unfortunately. This match fucking kicked ass. I loved this match, and I think that it was the match of the night, without a doubt. One of my favorite matches of the entire year, that I would say, and I just liked it from start to finish. I liked how Ambrose and Rollins were in the middle of everything, but they weren't taking all of the focus away, because there's something that bothers me when you bring a gimmick match that includes a lot of people, but you put the focus on one or two of them. That WWE does a lot. In the '99 Royal Rumble, this is a perfect example of what bothers me. Austin and McMahon started off and they battle around the whole fucking arena. And there are like 10 different eliminations that happen in that Royal Rumble where the camera isn't paying any attention to the fucking Royal Rumble match. Now, I get it. Those are your more important people. That's the big story coming out of it and all that. But you're supposed to still think that the other people have some kind of a fucking shot. And I hate it when WWE does that every single time they've done it, even if I like the people that are involved. So I was really hoping we wouldn't get that here. And thankfully we didn't. Everybody got a chance to shine here. Jack Swagger, not as much as some of the other people, but he still was kind of a linchpin to this whole thing. Kofi's jumping around doing stupid shit. Ziggler had a whole 3 or 4 minutes there where it looked like he was going to win. RVD was doing better than he's been doing in the longest time. And then, of course, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins really just, being the headliners of this whole thing. I liked the ending with Kane helping out. I liked Ambrose possibly not winning, possibly winning. I just liked this entire match. I thought it was great. And Seth Rollins as Money in the Bank, I believe it now more than I ever have in the past. So awesome match. Match of the night. Potential match of the year for me, although I'm pretty sure I'll give it to something else. Just big thumbs up. Lots of kudos from me. Drew?
Yeah, like you said, it was a really good match, like, and the best match of the night. I think at one point, I think everyone they made it look like anyone had a shot to winning the match. I remember Kofi at one point, out of everyone, had this moment where they zoomed in on him about to grab the briefcase, and everyone was going insane. And then for a split second, I thought, I was like, wait, they're not actually about to give this to Kofi. And then Ziggler came, and I'm like, ah, oh, thank God. But yeah, like I said, there were some really good spots. I remember. Yeah, well, I remember that spot. I think it was like Kofi. He flipped like Seth over the ladders onto like a ladder that they set up on the ropes. That spot was fucking insane. There's some really good spots in this match. And I really like it. Hell, even RVD, Mr. Spot Monkey did really good. The only thing I didn't really like about this match, unlike you, I wasn't really a fan of the ending, mainly because I'm getting kind of sick of the whole. Someone's going to interfere so someone of the authority can win. I've been getting kind of done with that for a while, but that's not enough to make this terrible match. Again, that really good match, and yeah, like you said, I think Seth Rollins now is as believable as we ever thought he could be. So good for him.
Where you go?
Honestly, out of everyone's opinion here, I'm looking forward to hearing Payton's because I know he fucking hated Seth winning this. Personally, I'm not a big fan either. Just because I've become such a huge Dean Ambrose mark this last month. He's actually my favorite guy on the roster right now, and I think he's the most talented out of the Shield. I would have loved to see him win this, and I'm hoping along the road he ends up winning the Money in the Bank off Seth. As far as the match quality goes, I got no complaints. It was a spot fest, and that's what it needed to be. I felt like it could have actually been given a little more time, to be honest, though. The best spot in that whole match was that fucking superplex off the ladder. Jesus Christ, that looked like a nasty bump. And both of those guys sold it so awesomely. And man, they made fucking Seth earn his Money in the Bank that night.
Didn't they?
So yeah, I was like, oh, guaranteed title shot. You're gonna bump like a bitch.
Miguel, what did you think about this match?
It needed to be what it needed to be. I mean, I don't think anybody was expecting the main event to be the spot fest that you usually expect from Money in the Bank matches now. So they put the guys that they needed to go out there and put on the performances that needed to happen. I do give them credit, like you said, for not making this the Dean versus Seth show. there's not much I can really say. I mean, it makes sense that Seth Rollins would win. I mean, he's got the entire authority behind him. I'm sure they would do whatever it takes to make sure that he left with some type of ability to get the belt for them. So I'm fine with Seth Rollins winning. I think all the guys looked great out there. It was the matchup that the Money in the Bank pay-per-view needed to have.
And Peyton, your thoughts about this match?
Utter 100% disappointment. Going into this match was almost a lock to be match of the night because it's an exciting ladder match. You got all the young talent, all the hungry guys in there, and RVD. And it just did not live up to that at all. You're saying it should be a spot fest. Yeah, it should have been a spot fest, but where the hell were the spots? I can remember two things in that match afterwards. I remember that point where they were dipping the ladder over. Kofi Kingston springboards on the one ropes out to all the guys on the outside. That was really cool. And Seth Rollins being back body dropped over the top onto the one ladder that was positioned. I remember that. Those two things were kind of neat. And they weren't even like exceptional. I've seen much crazier things in ladder matches that made me go, wow. I saw no really super cool moments, no unique uses of a ladder. The story was just so typical. Oh, Dean Ambrose got injured, so he had to be taken out. Oh, but he's coming back. Yeah, I liked it when The Miz did that in, the 2010 Money in the Bank? That was way better. And then just having Kane come out and hold the ladder from him, just cheesy and stupid. And I will never, ever buy Seth Rollins as a World Heavyweight Champion. Ever. And that guy has made leaps and bounds from where I thought of him a year ago. I will never, ever, especially the day of only having one title, buy Seth Rollins as a World Heavyweight Champion. So, unless he becomes the first guy to... Wait, what am I trying to say? The first guy of this single title era to cash in that Money in the Bank and lose, I don't see how this could possibly fail. My only belief of this is they were in a bind because the real guy they wanted to win was not able to be there. So they went with plan B. See what I did there? Seth Rollins.
Yeah, you think that they have any chance of switching it over to Dean Ambrose, like Wega was saying?
I remember, was it last year or was it the year before, we just kept begging for that to happen between Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes, and that never happened. So I'm not going to get my hopes up. It's something they certainly could do. I think Dean Ambrose is the much better long-term investment. Because storyline right now, this makes total sense to go on Seth Rollins. I don't argue that. With everything they've been building, it 100% makes sense for it to go on Seth Rollins. I just don't like it. If they can transfer that to go over to Dean Ambrose so that he can actually make that cash in eventually, perfect. That makes much more sense to me.
The one question I have, though, is something you mentioned in the post-Raw show. You said he is the worst Money in the Bank winner ever.
Yes, absolutely.
I got to give that to Jack Swagger. I don't want to. I'm just interested in why you put him so bad above guys like Sandow or Swagger.
Well, Sandow should have cashed it in one. Sandow's cash-in was badass. I think we all loved that when he did that. Swagger, I think, has a much more potential upside than Seth Rollins does. When you look at Jack Swagger, you see so much there that could be a star. And I think that was another bomb of the writing team. I think you could have hidden Jack Swagger's faults and made a star out of that guy years ago. And we're finally seeing the crowd get behind him now, and we'll see if that has longevity or not. Probably not, but there's so much more you could do with a Jack Swagger as opposed to a Seth Rollins who... before he even came out with new theme music, we're like, yeah, if Seth Rollins comes out, he's probably going to have, like, angry teenager music. And then it figures that Monday night he comes out with angry teenager music.
I think there's going to be an evolution to the Seth Rollins character that does it, because I'll be honest, I felt the same way early on when Daniel Bryan was being praised and people thought that he was going to be the next big champion. Early on, I didn't buy it too much, and then as the character evolved his look, I started to believe it more and more. I think it's going to be an evolutionary thing. I think he's going to keep tweaking his character until slowly but surely he becomes somebody that we buy in the main event. I'm not giving up hope on Seth Rollins, not yet at least. It's way too early.
They got 365 days to do it, less now, but they got time. Maybe they can make a Bo Lever out of me. I doubt it. I would be much happier with it on Dean Ambrose.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put it on him because they're out of all the Shield members, he's the one they worry about the most.
Maybe that's it. Give him Money in the Bank so he has something to do. while Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose can carry programs on their own.
Well, Roman Reigns has been the golden child. There's no one arguing that, I don't think. He's fucking looked superb. And I think Dean Ambrose's upside's just been more than obvious ever since he got away from the faction.
I'm actually looking forward to a Seth Rollins Daniel Bryan feud. I think those guys can really work something. I mean, if Seth Rollins having the belt is nothing more than a means to an end to get it to Daniel Bryan, I would be happy with that because I think those two guys could tear the house down.
Well, what do you guys think is going to end up happening with Money in the Bank? Leave your comments below. Tell us what you thought of this match. If you thought it was great or terrible or just meh in the middle. Sure, we're going to get wide variety of different opinions. And we are going to move on to the next match in the next segment, and that's going to be Stardust and Goldust versus Rybaxel.